Good evening. I hope everybody had a great day today. The devotion tonight is going to be just a bit different, but I couldn't just let this week go by without putting some words to my thoughts and feelings. What started as a quick devotion has ended up as a mini sermon, so I hope you continue to watch and listen. This week I've watched as protests, even the ones that were considered peaceful, sparked destruction, chaos, hatred, and division, not only around the world, but even in our little mountain community here. I watched all this unfold as I was busy preparing for HUMC's very first virtual VBS. One of the stories that I picked for VBS this year is the parable of the Good Samaritan. And as I was preparing the materials for VBS this week and listening and thinking about all the events that were going on around me, I kept coming back to the final verse in the story. Hopefully you all know the story in Luke's Gospel. A lawyer asked Jesus about the greatest law. Jesus reminds him that the greatest law is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. The lawyer then asks who his neighbor is, and Jesus goes on to tell the parable about a Jewish man walking down the road and being attacked by robbers. As he lays on the side of the road almost dead, a priest and a Levi walk by and move to the other side of the road to avoid him. Later, a Samaritan comes by. Samaritans and the Jews do not like each other. And he happens to stop, clean and bind his wounds, picked him up, took him down the road to an inn, and then paid the innkeeper to continue caring for him. Jesus then asked the lawyer, "Which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" The lawyer answers, "The one who showed him mercy." Then Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." It's those last 4 words that hit home this week. Go and do likewise. While I'm not one to get out and be a part of a protest in the streets, I just don't feel that's where I'm called to use my gifts to help right the wrongs. But I am one to do something. And while I don't think I can go out and solve all the world's major issues, I'm one who can do something. And I must do something, as that's what Jesus commands us as Christians to do. And as a member of the United Methodist Church, I'm called to work for social justice for all of God's children. Big issues, even ones as big as racism, have embedded within them many other small issues. And while I might not be able to solve the big issue, I can definitely be Jesus' hands and feet with the smaller issues. Helping those with food scarcity issues. I can add a few extra items in the weekly shopping to donate to the food pantry or the emergency council, or help pack the food boxes to be distributed, or volunteer to deliver Meals on Wheels to those who are shut in. Working with local immigrants by volunteering at the Literacy Council and International Friendship Center as they work to help our immigrant families assimilate into our community. Tutoring students who are struggling academically at one of the community after-school programs. Mentoring students who need an adult to be a steady and stabilizing force with the Big Brother and Big Sister program. Or visiting the elderly at Chestnut Hill or Eckerd Living Center when they're allowed to have visitors again. There are many other opportunities to get out in our community, or in your own community if you don't live here in Highlands, and be Jesus's hands and feet. You only need to take time, listen to your heart, find where your gifts and passions lay, then go out and do. When you get out in the community and realize these issues have a face and a name, you become emotionally involved. You find those faces and names taking hold of your heart, and you just can't let it go, even when you return back home. That will lead the work of your hands and feet to become the work of your brain and your computer. You can find other organizations at the state and national level that are doing work to improve or eradicate your particular issue. You can contact your local, state, and federal representatives to voice your opinion about legislation that is either going to hurt or help your issue. You can do in-depth research before going to the polls so you know which candidates champion your issues. I'm one person, and you're one person. But imagine if everyone who marched in all those protests around the world this week took that passion back into their community. Got out and were the hands and feet of Jesus. Imagine the change that could take place in our world. I challenge you this week to take time to search your heart, discern your gifts and passions, and find something in your community to go and do likewise for. If you're not sure how to contact an organization in Highlands or who to talk to, call me. I can hook you up. And I'll end with a quote from L.R. Nost that I came across this morning. She said, "So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that's you." Thanks for sticking with me tonight. We'll see you later.